Commence. All right.
Let's go.
All right. So wait, do you want to do the intro or you want me to? Are you already live?
Yeah, I oops.
Okay, cool. All right. Hello, people out there listening. Anybody starting the stream from the beginning? We're going to be doing a little interview here. Turbo Black Pill, Based Contrarian. We're going to be talking about some incel related topics as well as some transgender issues related to inceldom and maybe some other things as well. So let's just get right into it. And Turbo Black Pill, you're completely comfortable with all these questions, right? Like it's cool to ask you all this stuff.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, to my chat, if there's ever a green circle around my like profile picture, but you don't hear any audio, just like let me know in the chat, okay? Okay, Contrarian, go ahead.
All right. Well, the the first question is, so when I was going through your community posts, you and I'll try to go back on there to try to reference some of this stuff. You originally, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was you said that you were on hormones. Can you talk a little bit about that in terms of, well, you said it was a positive thing. So, like, I don't know, just kind of share that. Like, has it been a positive thing for you? And in what sense has it been positive for you, if it has been?
Um, it's positive in the sense that I like my body more. But like as for social results, it I think it's probably made my social life worse. But it's not really like the hormones thing because I don't think most people can really tell because the changes so far have been the external changes so far have been minimal. It's like transitioning and like because I think growing my hair out, I've grown my hair to a point where I just look kind of bad because the long ass hair doesn't suit my face shape, so it's kind of a looks min.
So, okay, well, that's cool. I'm happy that you feel better, but let me prod a little bit and criticize. Why originally was when, okay, what was the original source cause for why you took it? However many months or years ago that you began, it just was because you didn't like the way you looked. And if that's the real answer, then what made you decide to try to be female or feminine or whatever it is that you're going for exactly?
Um, well, ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to live a female life and be treated as a girl.
Okay, but okay, let's stop right there. I want to ask a follow-up question before we keep going. So, define what that means to you. So, when you were a little kid, what aspect of being a female did you want to have a part of your life, or what, like, just what do you mean by that from the point of view of being a little kid?
To be able to like play with girls, um, in and to be included in like girls only activities. Um, well, that's really it. As for being a little kid, I don't really remember much. Um,
Okay, well, that's interesting. I would just like to say or add in that, do you think that is tied into your inceldom, that you haven't really had many chances to be around women, that in some, I don't know, got kind of some synchronicity of sorts, that this is kind of just the way that you feel like maybe it's a way that you can get around them rather, or, I mean, what do you, have you ever thought that in the back of your head? I mean, I'm sure that's not the first time you've heard that. I'm sure you've seen that online before. What are your thoughts on that criticism, that that's just, that's all that is, terrible black pill? It's not that you're actually trans, it's actually just, this is your really you're just an incel, and it's your secret way to get around women. What would you say to that?
Yeah, so is that like the critique that you're basically transmaxing as a technique to try to get women? Um, well, I think that like I don't think that it is like a fetish on my part, but um yeah, to be closer to women like in a platonic way is one of the motives I have for transitioning. But I don't consider myself a trans maxer because I have gender dysphoria
Wait, I'm sorry. What was that last part? You said you don't consider yourself a transmaxer because of what?
because I have gender dysphoria.
Oh, okay. And for people listening that don't know what that is, or just in general, what is gender dysphoria? Because for me, all I learned is gender dysphoria was actually a mental illness in the DSM, and I've heard that over the years it's got turned to where it's no longer in there, and now apparently gender dysphoria it just means kind of like your gender fluid mentally or something, like you don't really know who you are as a gender. But you can correct me or fill in the audience if I'm wrong about that or if I'm being ignorant.
Um, as far as I know, it still is in the DSM-5. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna like do a quick search if they ever updated it. I don't think that they like changed the DSM until they released a new version of it, like the DSM-4 to the DSM-5. It still is categorized as a disorder, as far as I know.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know because I've heard from people, I talking points. People always will bring this up to me that, hey, buddy, it's no longer in there. You're living in the past. You're a boomer, and I'm like, geez, okay. Well, I apologize, but anyways, well, if that's the case, what would your argument be to that? Just that straight up that this is basically a mental illness, and it really wouldn't matter if it's a fetish or you're transmaxing. These are all just more buzzwords that kind of just get away from the point, right? Which is that it's really just a mental illness, and a lot of things have happened to you in your life that obviously have driven you towards this. I mean, maybe you felt this way when you were a little kid, but well, I'll let you keep going with your point. You as you've gotten older, what has happened with those feelings of wanting to be a girl slash woman? Right, because you said as a kid that was all you felt. Well, what about when you grew up as an adolescent, teenager, into now? Like, how do you feel at each stage? Like, what type of woman do you want to inhabit? Right, like I'm sure today it's different than when you were 15. Right, like, can you kind of go over that a little bit?
Um, okay, so to respond to the first part, the like I'm going off of my limited knowledge, so like if don't take my word for it, do your own research. But as far as I know, it is not considered an it's not really called an illness. But I'm not even sure if it's like a disorder or just like a condition. But it's one of those. It's basically like a diagnosable condition. Um, they don't really use the term mental illness for gender dysphoria, but I mean, you can use it if you want, but it's basically just like not PC, But in the black pill community, we don't really care about that. Uh, okay, so for the second part, from when I was about like I'd say about like 13-ish, the type of woman I wanted to be has basically stayed the same. Um, I pretty much just wanted to be like this very attractive, conventionally attractive, extroverted party girl who, goes to all the parties, has all the youth experiences, is like the girl that all the other women want to be and the one that all the men want. So pretty much like a Stacy.
So wait, do you feel this way like to a sexual level, or is it just like a social level when you feel like this?
I
Just
think
wondering, like you don't have to
I
go
think
into
it's both.
detail or nothing. Oh, okay, okay, both. Well, okay, keep going with what you were saying. I apologize for interrupting.
You weren't interrupting. But um, yeah, like I pretty much want the Stacy lifestyle. Um, I want to live the life of the hot girls that I see at school. Because
Okay, and
and
what
on social
about?
media.
Let me ask you this as a counter question, real quick. What about being that as a man? Why not that? Is it now, before you answer, is it that you've kind of already given up on that? And as a result, this is why you've gone to this? Or was it never, ever your first idea to just, right? Like what I'm saying is be like the alpha male, be like an Andrew Tate type guy. Like, why are you trying to be the woman Andrew Tate? Right, like that's what I'm asking. Like, why do you want to be the woman, like the alpha female? Like, why don't you just want to do this as a man? Or did this dream dry up and this is why you've come to this conclusion? Or did you never have that dream to begin with?
Okay, I think it was actually the other way around that I there was a stage in my life when I did want to be the Andrew Tate alpha male guy. Um, I and that I start that was like in middle school to through high school. Um, because I felt that I just couldn't compete with the other men because with the other boys, well, because they're teens, but because I was shorter and smaller and weaker and less good looking than most of the boys in my class. So um, I wanted to like high school was when I started working out because I wanted to get buff and to mug other men. But I always like at the same time I always wanted to be a woman more, and I was uh going the masculine path because I knew that I was because I was a minor, I couldn't transition. So I was like in the meantime, like given that I'm stuck being a boy right now, I'm gonna try to make the most of being a boy. And then once I turn 18, then I can start transitioning.
So you've always had these thoughts in your head from a young age. You're very staunch on this point. You're not going to budge on this, and you pretty much are saying that it was never really something that you intended for on like the more masculine side, at least not for a while, like just for a little bit there. Um, what I would ask then is, at what point did you come into the transgender mindset? Was it something that you found out about on the news? Like, why wouldn't you just start off as being gay? Like, what made you go to such an extreme change, right? Like, if you're going to admit there was a phase where you wanted to be the Andrew Tate guy, albeit maybe just not as long as the other phases, couldn't you agree that these are all kind of extremes? Being a transgender is an extreme. Being an Andrew Tate man is an extreme. Like, why can't you just be just a whoever you are? Turbo Black Pill. I think you're an Asian. Why can't you just be an Asian man? No offense, I don't mean to trigger you. Why can't you just do that and just accept whatever comes your way? Maybe you don't get right the Chad treatment. Maybe you don't get some Stacy's. You know, you don't get the Asian man's dream of a white Stacy or whatever the fuck it is. But I mean, that's life. Why does it have to be? Why do you have to have everything? I mean, isn't that a good criticism of this? Like, why is it that you have to be the now you're going to be the baddest bitch? Like you say, you want to be the top woman. You're going to be Stacy. All the guys want to lust after you. Why you see what I'm saying? That's my criticism is can't you call yourself out on this? This is like it's like you have a substance abuse problem, except you're doing it with like sex, like but you know you don't have any. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird diagnosis because it's like you get what I'm saying. It's like you have to live at such an extreme level, no matter what decision you make. You're either going to be an incel the rest of your life, never have sex ever, or you're going to be Stacy, and everyone's going to have, you know, their way with you. It's kind of a crazy oscillation, right? Like it's like, how do you go from one extreme to the next and not at all think about maybe that's the reason you're trying to do that. That it's not even that you're necessarily, you know, transgender. Maybe you just want to win in life. And that's why you know, your vision of it is being Stacy and you're the baddest bitch and everybody wants to be with you. Cuz why can't you think about it? Why can't you just be a normal girl? Why isn't your vision like I just want to be a normal girl who reads a book in the corner? Like you know what I mean? Like why do you got to be like the center of attention at every party? I mean, that should be in my opinion, that should be a standout red flag to you psychologically that something's going on. Because how right? Like how can you look at yourself in the mirror and say something like that? And you told me before, you know, I remember we had a past conversation. You sent me a DM and you told me that you had want to be a Chad. I remember this. So this is not I don't
Yeah,
know if that
that
was a
was a
hypothetical.
yeah, that was a lie though.
Oh, okay. It was a hypothetical.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I apologize then. Okay, never mind then. Scratch that point then. But either way, the whole point I was going to make is that there are points in your life where you did want to go into that, even if it was just for a short period. Why can't you just have a normal life, an average life? You know, even if you were going to transition into a woman, why can't you criticize yourself and say, well, he's right. Maybe I should just be a woman that's in the library in the back. Why do I have to be the center of attention? I mean, that is kind of worrisome, isn't it?
I guess I don't like need to be the center of attention though, because being the Andrew Tate guy or being Stacy, these are only like sort of like idealistic things that I these are like what I wish I could be, right? But um I don't believe that these are attainable. So um like my realistic goal is to just be like that normal girl. Um I'm gonna push back on the library thing because I think that the normal girl in the West, like a normal young woman in the West in 2024, is actually quite close to the Stacey who parties. Uh, you know, makes out with all the guys at the club. Like that is like society is so sexualized now that like it seems like this is what all the college girls are doing. Um, so like the girl who's just like shy and in the library, like that's like a sub 5 girl. Um, and you know what? Like I probably can only make it to being a sub 5 girl because my face is very masculine looking and I have close set eyes. So you know what? I might have to settle for being the normal plain Jane who just like sits in the library. But yeah, so I guess I'm gonna have to just adapt to that.
So you don't think about when you're saying this out loud that this is crazy, that you're like you're gonna turn into a girl and you're turbo black pill, bro. Like people look up to you. There's incels out here. They like you. They fuck with you. They're unsubscribing to your channel because they're like, what the fuck, dude's really gonna go do this shit, right? That's how I knew you weren't trolling because you took all your videos down for a day. I don't know if other people noticed that, but I was gonna put that in my video. You removed all you privated all your videos. I'm like, this motherfucker's serious. What the hell's he doing? And then people are saying they're unsubscribing. You're just like, fuck it. I'm going trans. So the point is like, don't you at some point realize like we get it, bro. This isn't a troll. You're being serious, and we know you're being serious, and we are asking you why? Like, don't you think being a guy is more badass? Like, you genuinely think it's cooler to be a girl? Like, I'm genuinely wondering, like, as a friend, bro, you really think it'd be cool to be a chick? You don't think it's just you just want the attention, bro? You never got it because you've been an incel your whole life. You don't think, okay, he's right. If I could get that attention as a guy, that'd be way more badass. Exactly. What if you have some bad bitches? And you're making your YouTube video and you got some bad bitches at your house, that you'd be 10 times happier than if you were a bad bitch yourself. and you got guys at your house. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You tell me. How do you really view that? Would you? Yeah, that's my question to you. Would you be happier if theoretically you could get the woman of your dreams right now as a man versus turning into the woman of your dreams and then getting your dream man? Like, which one would you honestly pick if you could get it in a snap of the fingers?
So like a purely hypothetical, if I could get it snap of a finger, which means, we're saying like no surgery complications, no, you know, like I would instantly like in a heartbeat pick the second option to be a woman and like have the man of my dreams.
Wow. Okay. So you're really about this shit, man. Well, I respect that. That's crazy. So you want to be a bad bitch for real? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Well, that's what's up. I mean, if that's your, hey, if that's really what you want, I mean, I'm not gonna hate. I mean, I just want to make sure you're dead ass about this before I keep asking certain questions. Um, well, my next question would be, why can't you just be gay? What's wrong with being gay? Like, why can't you just be a man that takes it that way? Why do you have to go down this other route of surgery and all these different things, and then it's like you're doing the same thing. I don't know. What's your answer to that one?
It's not the same thing because like your gender affects the way that you're treated to a massive degree, and like a gay man will in almost all cases will never get close to the same dynamic as like a heterosexual relationship. It's just a different dynamic, and like not even in just your relationship, just the way that men and women treat you in everyday life. Um, they will perceive you in a different way, and I don't want to be seen as a gay man, and I don't want to be with a gay man. I just want to
Okay.
be like a regular woman.
Okay, but at that point, that doesn't sound like that's like you're born to be a trans. Like you just were selecting. You're like, well, if I'm gay, people look at me this way. I don't want to be gay. So it's like, are you even trans, bro? Like you're selecting this shit just based upon how people will treat you because you're so black pilled. You know the pink pill. You know all the pills.
Wait,
Like
but
you're too
how?
pilled, bro. You overdosed on all the psychological pills. Now you understand reality too much. Is that, no, I'm just asking, is that genuinely what's happening here? Like, are you picking this? Like, because you just said, like, being gay, it messes up the perception. So, assuming you could be perceived the way you want to be perceived, would you just be gay?
Well, I think that um like the concept of being born trans, like having a trans brain, like a female brain in a male body. I think that like a female brain would naturally prefer to want to be perceived as a female and you know an attractive female as well. Do you think that's correct? All I'm saying is,
Um,
if I am born this way, which I can never prove or disprove, but if I am, let's just sort of, for the sake of argument, say that I am born this way, it still makes sense that I would want the things that I want right now.
I suppose so, but I still would disagree with that idea of a woman's brain or any of this. I don't I don't see why any of that would even be valid. It just seems that there's differences in people. Like people, I mean, for me, I'm feminine. I'm a guy, but I'm feminine. I'd never I mean, there was a point in my life I thought I was gay. I never talked about this because people are, but I'll talk about it on the stream today. Um yeah, when I was younger, I thought I was gay. Yeah, because I'm like a talkative dude, so people made fun of me. They're like, "Are you gay?" And then I was like, I'm like, maybe I am. You know what I mean? I went home and I'm like, am I gay? And I thought about it and I'm not. But the point is, I understand what it's like to be more feminine. It doesn't just mean you're gay though. Right? Just like being more feminine doesn't mean you're trans. Just like right, being more masculine doesn't mean whatever. For a woman, the same thing backwards. It just means people have you different type of person. I mean, for me personally, because I don't know if you guys realize this, but I'm not even like an incel. Like I've said this many times. I don't know why people keep saying I'm like some fucking true cell or some shit. And it's like that's what I mean. Like when I was younger, this talkative personality that I thought I was gay, people made fun of me for. Now I actually talk to women really easy. And then women like get along with me, it's like, oh, it's easy, you can flirt with them. It's like, it's easy for me to get a number. Right. So I flipped it on its head. I flipped it on the haters' heads. People used to be like, oh, is he gay? Now they're like, oh shit. Right? They're fucking upset because they realize, right? So that's my whole point to you too. How do you know that that's not what could happen with all of your traits? That it's really like, yeah, you got some feminine traits as a man, but it doesn't mean you're gay or trans. It just means, hey, bro, that's just what it is. You got to flip the script on that shit. You can't let, and I mean, maybe that's the wrong way of looking at it, but to me, that's how I always looked at it. I never was attracted to men or nothing, but I'm just saying, like, I've had, feminine traits. Like, I like to watch, like, girl shows or, like, I like girl songs. And that's what I mean. But that's how everybody is. All guys have like, it's like a percentage. We're all just like, we vary differently. Like we like different shit. Doesn't mean you're gay. Doesn't mean you're trans, bro. People got to let go of this insecurity. At least that's my opinion of it. Because see, I can admit it all. That's how I know I'm not insecure. A lot of these people out here who are like me, they won't even admit they ever thought what I just said, and then that's the whole point. There probably are a closet homosexual at that point, right? If you can't admit, hey man, I had gay thoughts one time, dude, you're probably gay. Because why are you so afraid to admit it? I have had gay thoughts before. We've all had gay thoughts, man. It doesn't mean you're gay. I just see what I mean. Like everybody's got to admit it. Every man on this earth has had gay thoughts. I don't give a fuck if you're Brad Pitt. It's just the reality. So it's true. And then think, people always make those jokes about Brad Pitt. If you watch a Brad Pitt movie in the comments, they'll go, oh, the whole movie, they were just thinking about, Brad Pitt, in a sexual manner. And it's just a joke because he's so attractive. But it's like, honestly, there is truth to that because sometimes you're like, geez, these guys are freaking good looking. No homo. But it's like, obviously, dude, it's just, it's just, that's the reality for all men here. Doesn't mean you're gay, bro. And then that, you got people out here, they won't even acknowledge that they can tell how attractive other men are. They're like, I don't know. But the whole point, sorry, I just went on a rant there. But my whole question to you, though, Triple Black Pill, is why can't you just, use your feminine traits and be a straight man and use them for, to get women like I have? Why do you have to be a gay man or a trans man? Is it really like this full blown attraction? Like, are you bisexual? You're not attracted to women at all?
I'm
Like,
bisexual.
is it, huh?
I'm bisexual.
Oh, okay. Well, well, what the hell then? What are you gonna do? Like, how does that make any sense? You're gonna change your gender, then you're not gonna get any chicks for sure. Or you figure you're just gonna be like a lesbian at that point? Because
Well, I could.
I'm just wondering, how does that all work?
Um, I think the uh the factor that really makes the one thing that makes me really confident that I am actually trans, and I'm just speaking for myself here because I don't want to like impose this on other people. I don't want to say I'm not saying that like every trans person needs to have gender dysphoria or something like that, but I'm just saying that for me, it's the physical dysphoria that makes me like 99.999% confident that that transitioning is right for me. It's like the physical discomfort with my male body and a desire for a feminine body.
Okay, I mean, I can understand that from a certain perspective, but how do you figure that that's just not a mental illness? Like, what if I said I felt like I wanted to be something, and whatever. Like I said, I just feel like I'm gonna be a taller man one of these days. I'm gonna wake up and be taller, and I just kept feeling like that. And then I went and got a leg lengthening surgery, and I just kept doing it until I was 6 feet tall. I mean, don't you think I have like a weird mental fuck up? Like I seriously, I don't even agree with these leg lengthening surgery shits. You sure as fuck are never gonna get me to agree with this transgender surgery, man. How do you justify saying to yourself? you feel gender dysphoric. It's just a buzzword to cover up. Basically, you feel like you're a different gender, but you're really not. So then you just use the word dysphoric because that's it like causes a flare up in your own life if you say that every time. If every time you said, well, what it is I feel like I'm the other gender even though I'm not, that would like flare up your shit. So instead you guys make this word up like, yeah, I'm gender dysphoric, dude. And then people go, oh shit. All right. All right, he's figuring it out, or they're figuring it out. Right? That's what I mean. Like, why are you doing this to your audience and yourself and the universe? Like, don't you believe in God, Turbo Black Pill? Do you believe in a creator?
Um, I'm an agnostic. I would like to believe in God, but I just haven't really gotten into it. But I
Well,
think I
I
think
just
gender just there's I don't think gender dysphoria is just this like leftist buzzword that they made up. Like I think it is it's just the term that we use to describe the condition that it just describes the distress that you feel, um which can be, because of your physical traits, could be, because of uh social dysphoria, could be because of the way that you treat it. It can be, um it's sort of just it just describes a feeling of discomfort with the gender that you are sort of, you know that you start off as, that you're like born as because of your biological sex.
okay. I apologize. I appreciate you clearing that up because I mean, I think sometimes it can be used as a buzzword, though. I mean, honestly, I think sometimes it is, but I appreciate you clearing that up. Um, Well, what do you think about if I just straight up say what everyone says? Like, let me just give you, let's just do the criticisms now instead, because we're kind of just, I'm going all over the place. Let me give you some genuine criticisms that I have and people have in general. Uh, for example, what if people just tell you straight up, like, this just isn't real, dude? Like, you were brainwashed by the leftist media and really, you know, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, like you're just gay. This is just something you gotta turn off the TV. You gotta touch grass. Basically, the touch grass go outside theory, but just for transgenders. Like you need to touch grass, bro. Get off Reddit. What is your criticism to that? Will that make this go away for you? If you logged off the internet, would you stop having transgender thoughts?
um well that the you've just been brainwashed by the leftist media. That argument is, that's what my father tells me. um I disagree with it. um I don't have, I thought about it, but I don't have a response to that argument that is actually effective at persuading the other side, because anything that I say is just gonna, like, I'm just gonna sort of, um like, be responded to with, well, that's just what the leftist media says. So it's a difficult argument to refute, especially since, like, the conservative view is that, like, before this was a mainstream thing, everything was working fine. So now, of course, the left has their response to it that, well, you just didn't see the trans people. But they were still having the same problems, except no one knew about them, right? But um, that's not going to be very convincing to the conservatives, obviously. So I think that for that side, I'll just have to, like, agree to disagree.
All
But
right,
I
fair
don't I,
enough.
I don't think that if I just turn off the TV, I don't really watch TV, but I do, like, keep up with the news somewhat. I don't think that if I just, like, um let's, like, never read the New York Times or something, or let's never watch any trans YouTubers, just get off Reddit. I don't think that that would make me stop feeling the way that I do.
Okay, fair enough. But I like to use a counterpoint here. I brought up this point to somebody in my life about ERs when a person does an ER, and I said it's an interesting idea because if you think about it, when somebody does that, it puts it out into the universe, right? For better and for worse. Obviously, in this case, for worse, when someone does something horrible like an ER. And the reason I brought this up was to say, well, what ends up happening is once you put it out into the universe, you can't take it back. So once one person does a ER, well then, somebody else hears about it. And if you guys were watching the news lately, there was actually two ERs that just happened back to back, proving my point. Exactly, because once one happens, someone else hears about it, they get an idea, they do it. Right? And this idea not only exists in the, local perimeter of, happening with it, week by week, there'll be another ER every week because the news is running wall-to-wall coverage, but it also happens in the decades that we've existed here on Earth. That the longer that there's people like for example, he becomes an icon, and people call back to it and go, hey, you could just do an if life gets really shitty. The whole point I'm making is someone originally had to put that out into the universe. Otherwise, no one would fucking know about that shit. Exactly. So originally, there was a universe where no one knew what the fuck a ER was. There was no such thing as that. There was no such thing as that person. That had to happen. Now it's in the public lexicon, and you can't get it back. Once it's out there, it's out there. Now use the same logic of that, but with transgender shit. It's exactly the same point. Somebody put that out there too, and once that's out there, it's out there. So that would be my counter argument: is you did have to, take the transgender thing from somewhere, because it's not something you just start with, right? When you load up as a human, you don't just start with that. That's a DLC. You gotta buy that shit for an extra $11.99. Literally, you gotta. That's the New York Times subscription, so you can get brainwashed. Because the whole point is, you don't come with that in your natural startup kit as a human. Just like you don't come with the natural startup kit, like, hey, should I take sticks and stones and just go delete every human over there in the tribe, right? Like people weren't doing like ERs in the fucking caveman times, bro. That was like, what I'm saying is like that had to be something that happened in the 21st century. It was put out into the public lexicon. Now people know what that is. You can't get it back. It's transgender. There's many ideas like this. And that's what's weird about our world. So the transgender thing, you for sure picked it up at some point in your life, somehow in your travels to and fro, and from some online source or article or some news media. And if you didn't and you just heard it from a person, rest assured they heard it from an online news source or media or whatever it was, because it has to occur that way. Because again, transgenderism, the ideas associated with it, they're not part of your natural startup kit as a human. I mean, honestly, you have to go out of your way to learn about that. It's like a religion. It's like Jesus. Like, shout out to Jesus, but honestly, it's the same thing. You don't just wake up and believe in Jesus, bro. Somebody's got to slap you with a Bible, and then you go, oh shit, and they got to like scare you. You'll burn in hell. Then you're like, oh shit, maybe I'll believe in this now, right? Like they got to scare you, indoctrinate you, right? It's the same. I mean, honestly, let's be real with it. It's the same thing with a lot of this shit, man. Like the transgender thing, it's kind of the same thing. You're scared, right? I'm reading your post right now. People are you're saying you got to hurry up and get your surgeries before it's too late. You're getting you said you want to get a male to female vaginoplasty, a lay fort one ostomony. I don't know if I'm pronouncing these right. I apologize. A facial feminization, right? And I'm sure that creates fear in you, right? Fear because you're getting older. What if you don't get your surgeries in time and then you can't be a bad bitch and you can't capture the moment? Do you see what I mean? Like it just shows you that it's the same. It is, and it's like, oh, the hormones won't hit right if you wait too long, bro. You got to do it right now. You got to transition right now, right? Like this is all fear-based thinking. Just like if I were to talk about those other mindsets like Christianity or whatever, it's just the same thing, man. Like what would be your criticism to that? That you've just fallen into fear-based thinking. You're basically in a cult and you've been indoctrinated and that's it. And it doesn't matter how you originally heard about it. Just rest assured this is a cult. It came from some online entity and that's what it amounts to. What would be your criticism of that? Obviously, I'm not saying I'm 100% truthful when I say that. That's just a criticism that I have, and I've obviously heard other people have too.
All right, let's go through the points one by. Okay, wait, no, my girl voice is shit, but yeah, I was just doing it because Vic67 in the chat said do a girl voice. But let's go through this one by one. So first, do you think that that argument is similar to like the social? It's like a social contagion. Is that a social contagion point? It's basically like people become trans because the idea of transgenderism, the idea that you can change your gender, is um, is in the public sphere. Um, I think that that I don't believe that someone can be made to feel gender dysphoria. Um, okay, well, actually, I take that back. I think because there have been there have been accounts of people who genuinely thought that they have gender dysphoria, but it was uh it was caused by like body dysmorphia or something. So there was it actually can. I think that there could that in some cases gender dysphoria can be caused by things like that. But I well basically what I'm saying is like my view is that there will always be people who have gender dysphoria as part of their startup kit. There will always be I think it is possible for humans to to want to be in the body of like a different sex than what they were born as. That I think that can be part of your startup kit. And the the reason why rates of transitioning increase uh, when trans people are in the mainstream is simply because people, but like other people who have the same condition, see success stories of it in the media, and then they realize that they can take the same path in order to solve their problem. Which and that the problem, gender dysphoria, they would have had it regardless of um, whether transitioning was a thing in like in the news or anything. Um, and well, not every trans person has gender dysphoria, right? And there are some people who transition um, without gender dysphoria, like trans maxers, for example. And where I agree with you is for the non dysphoric trans people, like the idea of transitioning to a different gender being mainstream. That's yeah, it's gonna make it more popular um, because people who otherwise wouldn't have done it, they have no other people who otherwise wouldn't even have a desire, um, like they don't have gender dysphoria. They would then sort of pick up the idea, right? But I do believe that there are some people who naturally um, sort of like naturally feel like they are born in the wrong body. I hope that was clear. I just clear enough to understand because I did that was quite a fragmented response. But
No, it's okay. Um, I was gonna say, what if I countered back and said gender dysphoria? It's like if I said money dysphoria. I just wish I was rich. It feels the same way. I'm frustrated as shit. I'm never happy. This is bullshit. It's basically how I feel all the time. Until I'm rich, I'm not gonna be happy. I'm just saying, like, isn't that kind of how life is for like not just that, but like tons of shit. Like people have this dysphoria for like everything. Like that's why I say it's like a catch-all term because it's like it's like a buzzword at a point. Like so, yeah, it's a medical diagnosable term, right, in the DSM. But then at the same time, it's literally a buzzword as well. Like depending on how you use it, because it's like malleable, right? And the way you guys are using it, trans people, most time it's a buzzword. Because again, what if I have weed dysphoria right now, bro. Ah, fuck. I wish I had weed and it just sucks and I don't have it. And they ran out in my state and they banned it. It's illegal. I'll never get it again. I'm fucked. Like, it's like, obviously, I'll just get over it, right? But it's like this gender thing, it's just been given power. So people won't get over it. They'll actually go get a gender surgery. So my criticism would be this: what would be your opinion that this is just basically the medical industry, the pharmaceutical companies, all working in cahoots to turn this into a profitable thing? It's capitalism 101, homie. That's what this really is. And you're the guinea pig. And that's really all it is. And I mean, honestly, and I just really called a spade because if we are going to be real, anything can be a dysphoria. I mean, honestly,
I
if we're
agree.
going
I
to use it
agree.
like a buzzword, but the medical people will actually give you what you want, right? So that's why I'm making the criticism that they actually can make this dysphoria real. So, and there is proof that they really do make a lot of money from surgeries, and they make a lot of money from the hormones because you have to take them the rest of your life. So it's like a subscription plan. It's like subscribing to World of Warcraft. Because instead, the transgender person is subscribed to being a man or they're subscribed to being a woman. It's going to be a lot of money, even if the insurance pays it out. They're still milking the insurance companies. So that, what would be your response to that? That really you are just a guinea pig, and the medical and the pharmaceutical companies are standing to gain a shitload of money from people like you who are incels and you're hella confused and you're insecure, and they're just going to take your money or your insurance or whatever combination you have to go there with. They're going to take that and they're going to do it with a smile on their face because they know they just got one over on you. What would be your response to that?
Um, it certainly is possible. Um, like yeah, medical like pharmaceutical companies do have financial incentives, but um, where I push back is why do people only bring up this point when it comes to transgender hormones and surgeries? Because couldn't you say the same thing about like what if the pharmaceutical companies want people to eat unhealthy diets so that they can sell more insulin and like by getting people to have diabetes, by getting people to be like don't the surgeons want people to be obese so that they can sell liposuction? Because you don't hear people making these arguments, but all of a sudden they make the arguments when it comes to the trans thing.
Well, that is a fair point. My counter argument would be, I mean, it's because it's not changing a person's entire being. You know, when people, when women, even when a woman just gets like a bullshit surgery or whatever it is, you know, they're gonna get their face done, or they're gonna get tits, or they're gonna get ass. It's still not as damaging as these incel shit, right? Because the incel thing, it basically just amounts to, or sorry, this transgender thing, it just amounts to you're fundamentally changing your entire chemistry of your body, your entire being, right? So obviously it's going to be, you know, like people are going to come in and say the medical people are enabling that because they're basically creating these little guinea pigs, these little, no offense, but these little wind up dolls. And they know that because no one else can do it. And see, it's, yeah, they do the same thing with the tits. You're right, because the girls need to get their tits replaced every 4 years or whatever it is, right? And it's true, but it's much more true if you make a whole gender. Say, right? Like imagine you go, well, what if we can? They go up to the surgeon. Imagine this is something that happened at a point. A team of surgeons, they go, hey, what do you guys think? You could turn that guy into a bitch, and then they all laugh. They're like, easy, easy. Like it was like a competition to them. And then the surgeons, of course, they get a kick out of it. They're like, fuck yeah, I'll turn that guy into a girl, easy, bet. And then they love it because it's like a challenge to how right talented they are with the knife. I mean, honestly. And then you got to think they get paid, and then you don't give a fuck. You want the surgery. To me, it's fucked up, man. It is because it makes sense when I'm saying that there is a certain evilness associated with what's going on here. Like it's like a game of sorts, right? The surgeons they like it. It's like a competition. Who could turn right like someone into like a whole different thing, and then the insurance companies they love it. Or sorry, the pharmaceutical companies and the medical things they love it, bro, because they're making so much money. Because you're gonna have to come back the rest of your life to get, you know, it's like a patch. You got to get an update to be like, oh, bro, you know, your vagina, it's sagging a little bit there. We'll have to update that. And then they'll update it. And then, you know, you come back 5 years, they'll update your chin. They say, okay, 6 years later, we're going to update your elbows and your waist and your hip. You're going to be a person that needs to get updated every couple years. How do you not understand that that is completely different than women? They only need one thing done. You're going to need 100 things done, 10 bottles of pills, right? Like, it's going to be ridiculous, man. You can't even have a pet. If you ever spill your pills, your pet's going to fucking eat it and die, bro. Like, you'll have to fucking be really careful when you fucking get this shit.
I mean, there's a lot of pills you can spill that's dangerous to your pets, but I think that that's a bit hyperbolic because like because people I think people have like women who get breast augmentations don't sometimes they need to get like revisions to like fix it up every few years, don't they? And like
Yeah, yeah.
revision surgeries for like facial like people who get fillers because fillers migrate, so a lot of them need to get their like fillers redone. And for trans people who do undergo like the medical surgical transition, um if you, the like the biggest inconvenience that affects like most of them would be the dilation. If they get MTF vaginoplasty, um it's not true that you have to just get it updated every few years. It's sort of like a one and done thing unless you get complications and then you need revisions. And like unfortunately there are cases where that happens and people have to go in multiple times. But um, like for me, I want to get my underbite corrected, and I want to get facial feminization surgery, which is it's like a one and done deal. And I want to have the bottom surgery, which I hope will also be a one and done deal.
So what, you're
Um,
gonna get your thing removed, your dangler?
yeah, but it's just a if it goes well, if it goes properly, it's just a one and done deal. You don't need to go back every few years to get an update. Like that's pretty hyperbolic.
Well, yeah, but yeah, you gotta take the hormones though, and you're cutting off your dangler. You can't just go without the hormones. Then
Yeah.
you'll be fucked. Okay, I have a question. Okay, now don't take offense to this, but you said you want to be the center of attention. I know you said you didn't really mean that completely, but why not? Like, let's just be real, guy. If people are listening out there right now or after the fact, dude, let me just ask the question that's on everyone's mind. Are you gonna help the incels ascend after you become a girl? Are you gonna come back to the black pill community and help the people out, man? I mean, honestly, like, I'm being real because it's messed up if you have high standards now. You only want to be with Chads and Tyrones. That's what you were saying, basically. You want to be a high value Stacy. Why can't you be attracted, or will you be attracted to sub fives? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Or, right, like, are you going to be a black pilled woman? Is my point. Like, are you going to be like, you know what? Fuck these loser incels. Or are you going to be like, I was an incel. I get it. I'm going to give them a chance. See how they, right? Like, I'm honestly asking. I'm not just trolling because I think it's really funny if your answer is no and you only want to be with good looking men. Because it's like, well, what about the sub fives, bro? You experienced inceldom and now you're not going to come back around and try to date incels, or at least, I mean, honestly, like, I mean, I'm serious. Like, I feel like everybody out there is wondering this.
I would prefer to lose my virginity to another virgin. Um, and I'm initially like attracted only to the looks of very attractive men, but like average looking guys um can make me attracted to them if they have good game.
What the fuck? Are you trolling? Is this like, dude, you just admitted I'm right then about like the fucking the red pill. Like, if he has good game, I'll like him. What the fuck,
Nah,
bro?
even blue pill because like I just because when the first time I went to to get my hormones to like get prescribed hormones I had a friend who drove me to the place where I was gonna get the prescription, right, and and he had to go, right, because the appointment lasted too long. But so then I called up like this normie guy that I met at like a fraternity, and he was super nice. Like he like picked me up and drove me back to the college campus, and I offered to pay him, but he like declined, right? So he was really nice, and because he was so kind and thoughtful, which is ironically, it's just so blue pill. Like I felt attracted to him, and he was like a 5 out of 10, 5'8", just like
Damn, you
and
got
had
rizzed
like
up.
yeah, but it wasn't even because
Hey,
of the game. It was just because he was kind and thoughtful, and then I literally that
yeah.
made me
No, that's
sexually
riz.
desire him.
That's its own riz. I've been telling y'all this. That's its own riz. That is because people enjoy that. So that's funny. Makes sense. Guys, hear that? Turbo Black Pill got rizzed up by a kind and thoughtful Riz. That's a different type of Riz out there. Blue pilled, but it works. See? So that's interesting. So Turbo Black Pill out here catching feelings already. So, oh, I guess that's the next question. Are you trying to date guys at this point, or are you just waiting for your transition to kick in harder?
I'm not pursuing
Like
dating
Chris
at this point.
Tyson, like him from Mr. Beast, like he was like looking like a guy there for a while, and then all of a sudden he just looked like a chick. Like, are you just waiting for that moment, or what?
Well, she has passing privilege. She passes better than a lot of trans women. I don't pass because I have a long face, I have close set eyes, I have a like a gorilla tier brow ridge. So I'm not really pursuing dating men at this point because men don't find me attractive. Um, because I look like a man. Hopefully that will change one day. But I'm probably gonna end up as a sub 5 girl, which sucks.
Um, so do you feel? Hold on, I'm trying to go on your thing and ask you some questions about that. Do you feel? How many years do you think it's going to take for you to save up for these surgeries, or do you think it's going to be something that happens soon?
Dude, I'm an extreme like dog shit work ethic cell. So even though I'm in university, I'm a computer science major. Like I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be a fat chance for me to actually make a decent living in this field. I might end up working, some shit job like as a cashier or some shit, as like a janitor or some shit. Because if the job market's hard and I just have like very subpar behavior and very subpar personal qualities and my GPA is shit right now too. So it might I think I'm just like roughly estimating it might take until my like late 20s at the earliest to try to get some of these. Yeah, it's gonna suck.
Wow.
So I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to
that is
like
going to be a little bit there. I want to read you one of your comments you got on your channel. Criticism. Somebody says, "Dude, take estrogen and just be a femboy is cool, but don't cut your dangler off. Just be a femboy furry and lurking in grinder or something. It's better to have a boy wife, really." What would you respond to that? Don't go all the way with it so you can make better decisions, if you want to go back to being a man. What do you think about this? More of a hybrid sexualized position instead of what you're doing. You're going all the way with it. What's your answer to
uh,
that one?
that is just not my cup of tea. Like I don't want to I don't want to be a femboy. I just want to like be a regular woman.
All right. Let me see if there's something else I can bring to your attention. Um, somebody somebody in your comments also said, have you ever thought about that when you get the vaginal surgery, that there's going to be complications, and that possibly that if these complications do occur, you're going to regret having made this decision. So you would have been better off just fucking off and staying how you are right now, or how you were. What's your opinion on that? Do you just think it's worth the risk, or?
Yeah, I think I think it's a gamble worth taking. But the bringing up the complications is very important, and I definitely need to take that into consideration.
Yeah, it says another comment from somebody says you have to be trolling. Bottom surgery is the worst thing you can do. Most people don't even do this that are trans. Is there truth to that? Is this something that you're going through with that most people don't even do? Like, I don't believe uh, Caitlyn Jenner has bottom surgery, if I remember correctly.
Mm,
Right? So maybe there is some truth to that. A lot of
yeah,
the
I believe
famous
this is.
transgenders.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. For what I heard is a lot of the famous transgenders, I don't think they have bottom surgery. But maybe that is to your point earlier about some of these people just doing this for different reasons. But I don't know. What's your opinion on that? Some trans people don't get the bottom surgery.
Yeah. According to the stats, if I remember correctly, the stats that I saw posted on a trans subreddit, um, it is like a minority of all trans people who have had bottom surgery, but I think just over 50% of trans people want bottom surgery. I think it was just about trans women, if I recall correctly. Um, but that's not that percentage is it's important to note that that's not the same as the number of people who have uh, genital dysphoria, who are uncomfortable with their male genitalia and would prefer to have female genitalia. That's only the percent who want to have bottom surgery, right? So a lot of people who have genital dysphoria might decide that the complications are not worth the risk, thus they don't want bottom surgery. Um, but yeah, I think genital dysphoria is very common among uh, trans people. Um, like I, most trans women, if they could like press a button that would instantly give them a fully functioning like vagina, uterus, everything, they would press the button. Most of them would press the button. Um, the well, it's just the surgery, the complications, the recovery, the financial costs. That's the barrier.
Well, don't you think that at a point that would make you realize that this isn't normal? Like, if you just lived in the jungle somewhere, you just have to get the fuck over this shit. Or I guess just jump in the river and, you know, get killed by the current. Because there's nothing else that you would be able to do in that situation. It's
Mm,
only
but
because, again, the doctors have allowed this that you even can do this. I mean, honestly, though, like, don't you think at a point you realize that this is kind of crazy, man? Like, when you even say what you're saying, like, all these complications, all this shit, all these appointments, all these hormones, all this, it's like, dude, even somebody in your comments said, why not just be gay? And you said, your body can't attract guys. And then somebody said, that's impossible. There's no such thing as a gay incel. And that's what I mean. Like, what is this obsession with being a woman, bro? Like, it clearly has to be a fetish. Like, there has to be some sort of fetish going on here, man, that you're just not opening up about, which is fine. I understand. But it's just like, dude, because there's no good reason to really go through with this shit, bro. Just saying what you're saying. Like, imagine anyone saying this about anything else. Like, imagine just anything. Like, imagine if you had to do this to get a job. And they're like, yeah, man, fuck. And then I got to do this shit. But I'm going to make $100 an hour. It'll be fucking amazing. I can have all these complications. But if I go through with it, $100 an hour, rest of my life. Dude, you know how many people would just be like, fuck that. It ain't worth no $100 an hour. I don't give a fuck. Exactly. Like, you're not even making no money. This is just you for fun. You're just going there getting complications. Maybe, you don't know, for the fuck of it. Like, I gotta be a girl. You know what I'm trying to say is like, think about this shit, man. Like no one in their right mind would do the shit you're doing, even if you paid them. Like if you paid someone money and you're like, here's, like no one would do this, man. And you're gonna go through with it, even though all these complications could happen. You're still gonna go through with it. You don't give a fuck. Like, don't you think at a point you should wake up and go, damn, what am I doing? Like clearly the universe is telling you something, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree? Or no, you think that
I think
this
that
is like the part of the universe, like we're meant to discover this shit, like it's all supposed to happen. Like I don't know.
I think that the point that you started out with is just this like weird naturalistic cope. It's like this caveman paleo cope. It's like you shouldn't do it because if you lived in the jungle in 10,000 BC, then you could either get over it or just jump into the river. And it's like what I say to that is like, well, isn't it great that with modern technology we have a solution for this that isn't just like getting eaten by like a tiger or just not doing anything about it. Isn't it cool that now we have modern technology? So that's I look at it from the other angle. I don't think that
Well,
because it's not natural,
that
it's
is
bad.
true, but that's like if I that's a like I mean this is kind of redundant, I guess, point, kind of like has nothing to do with it, but non sequitur. But I would say an example of something would be like sugar. You could be like, well, we have an invention. You could just drink the Gatorade and shit while you're running. It's like, yeah, I mean, but fruit still, it's going to win most of the time. And I think that's just how it is in general with most things. So it's like the same thing with this. Like, it's like, great, there's an invention to change your gender. Yeah, there's also this thing called being gay, getting rammed by Hector. It's like, yeah, it works. People have been doing that for a while. I mean, it's like, right, I'm just being real. It works. Like, why does there have to be an invention like being gay plus? It's like they had to like give gay people like a little upgrade. Like, why can't you just be gay? Like, I'm for real. I'm okay with people being gay because I admit it's a real thing. You can really, go out there, get Hector and Jorge. They, maybe they go get George and they meet up, have a, whatever. But the point is, when you get going, well, we're gonna wear wigs. Okay, you're wearing wigs. The minute you go, well, no, now I'm a girl and I'm taking hormones. It's like you went too far with it. You know what I mean? Like you're like gay, you're like a hybrid gay, and it's like gay cubed. It's like gay to the fourth power. It's like what are we doing right now? I mean, honestly though, like because I feel like being gay can be okay. It can be kind of based. There can be situations where gay people aren't that bad, and I'm not homophobic or transphobic. I just mean like, some gay people, it's obviously some pleasure disorder. They're intolerable. They're like heroin addicts. But on the other hand, there's a lot of gay people that are completely normal. They're based, they might be like a guy that lives in a suburb neighborhood and they're like, shake your hand, they're a hardworking person, just a normal everyday guy, and that's what I mean. Why not just be that, bro? I mean, you're black pilled. Why not just be based as fuck and black pilled and gay? Like, I don't get why that wouldn't be like cooler. You could like change your name to Turbo Gay Cell or something. You know what I mean? Like something more relatable to what you really are. But now you're gonna go trans. I don't get like what I'm trying to say. Like, why would you think that transgenderism is real? Being gay when being gay is actually real. Like, there's no argument against being gay. Like, you can't argue. The only argument is that you could say gay people are just doing it. And, it's like a chemical imbalance in their brain, like the Republican argument. But I'm not even going to go that far. I'm just going to be like, nah, bro, there's gay people. But I just don't see how you can go that extra step and be like a gay person that's like changing your gender. And you won't say you're gay, but that's what it is, bro. If you're having sex with guys, you're gay because you're still a guy. If they rearrange your bottom, how does it make you a woman? I mean, honestly, you're still a man, bro. And I mean, I'm not trying to trigger you or nothing, but it's just the truth. And I mean, earlier you were saying too, you want people to accept you. You really think guys are gonna accept you that are good looking? Dude, look at Chris Tyson. He's dating some weird transgender fucker himself. No offense, but that's probably what you're going to get to. Because the truth is, if you go trans, the only people who like that, I mean, yeah, there are normal people, but it's usually other trans people, dude. And I mean, honestly, that's kind of the brutal pill of this whole thing. Like you're just gonna get more of the same shit you are. You're just gonna get another incel. Like you're, you're just gonna get another incel on the other side of the spectrum who got another surgery, and then you guys are gonna meet up. Like no normal person with a functioning brain is honestly going to shove, you know, they're not going to do all that stuff, bro, because the reality is they're going to realize what they're getting themselves into. And they're going to go, wait a second, what is this? I didn't know you were this. And if you admit it out the gate, well, they'll probably just ghost you unless they're extremely desperate. I mean, right? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being real. Like, you'll just get used up. If that's what you want to be used up. I mean, maybe that'll happen for you. Somebody will come bang you and then just leave and never call you again. If that makes you feel better than your current life, I guess go live it. But I'm just being real. Like, I don't see why you think you're going to live some elegant life as a woman. You're going to be just as down bad, if not more down bad than you currently are. I mean, let's just keep it a buck, bro. You know, you're not exactly somebody that I think has a lot of game. So I don't know how as a woman you're just suddenly going to be, you know, it's like, dude, you're going to be, people are going to uncover the bottom and go, what the fuck? For real, it's gonna be like Mr. Garrison on South Park. Like people are gonna freak out, bro. You're gonna have to get with a guy like Mr. Slave, somebody like that, in order to be happy in life. There, nobody. Trust me, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's true. It's not transphobic either to say that. Like no one normal is gonna bang you, bro. It's just the truth. So if you want to be with a good-looking man, it ain't happening. They're gonna be mentally unstable if they're with you. Trust me. I guarantee. There's no way in fuck. And I mean, you can feel how you feel about that, but I mean, what's your opinion on that? What's your opinion that I think you won't be able to get a good-looking man if you go trans? You're just gonna end up with some low-status loser.
I'll respond to something else you said first. Um, I think it's incorrect to like characterize transgender people as just gay people cubed. Gender identity and sexual orientation are two different things, and um, I, I just fundamentally disagree that being trans is just like an extended version of being gay. I think that these are two different things. Um, but my thoughts on the dating market part. I have the same concerns that you brought up, but I I'm also constantly bombarded with anecdotes that contradict it, which makes me feel extremely jealous of other trans women. It's just like so many trans women who have boyfriends, and like every time I read about that, I'm just like fuck, it's not fair, like because I think the same way you do. I go like, okay, wait, how am I gonna find like uh how will I find a man who will want me, a trans woman, which most straight men don't even want that to start off with. But I'm also an unattractive trans woman, right? So I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna get a boyfriend. But then I just read about other trans women who have boyfriends. I'm like, fuck you. It's not fair. You have it all. So I have mixed feelings about that.
Well, I think it's probably anecdotal for a reason because you're seeing it's like the home runs, and that's what I mean. I'm not trans, but I'm pretty sure the trans people got to do that. I'm not in that community, but it's like shit. It'd be like the black pill community if we held up the dudes that ascended. We'd be like, look at this dude, he got a bitch, and we'd fucking put him like as our background on YouTube. But it's like it's the other way. We hate people who do that. It's weird. I mean, I don't, but the point I'm making is transgender people. When some person can get a normal person to fuck them, I'm sure that yeah, they post and pin that up on every social media outlet they got because you got to make it known to everybody. Look, it happened. The unicorn exists. And it's like, dude, I mean, I get it, bro. And people are brainwashed. You got to realize that. If somebody fucks somebody like that, you're brainwashed. You're woke as shit. Bro, that's weird. I mean, I'm not even trying to be mean, but it's like if somebody out there fucks a trans woman as a man, and you got to be woke as shit, like to not like be like weird or nothing. Like you got no mental illnesses. That because I don't know the other answer for that. Because that's not a straight man. That's and that's what you got to realize because those private parts they're not going to feel the same as a real woman's. And I hate to break it to you on that level too. Trust me, man. Men, I mean, you're an incel, so I guess obviously a lot of people out there that are listening won't get it, but the woman, it feels different. Let's just be real with it. And if you were to go down on some trans woman, no offense, there is no way in fuck it's gonna be the same. I mean, it's the same thing for trans men. If you're a woman, female to male, there's no way the penis is going to be the same either. Like, let's just be like honest about it. Like, obviously, it's like vegan chicken nuggets, man. The fuck, it's not gonna. Right, eventually, one day, it will get so good, it will be 99% like right real chicken. Which vegan chicken nuggets kind of are like that. If you guys have ever had that. But the point is, I don't think transgender surgeries are like vegan chicken nuggets. They got to have these things out for another 20 years, 30 years. You know what I mean? By that point, they'll probably perfect them. And honestly, at that point, you probably can get pretty damn close to being a woman. So this whole thing about you not updating, I think you're gonna get a lot of updates there, whether you like it or not, because they're gonna improve the shit, man. That's what you got to realize. This shit's gonna get way better as time goes on, and you're gonna go, holy shit, this surgery mogs the fuck out of my last surgery. I'm gonna go get that shit right now, for real. So, and that's what I'm telling you. It's gonna turn into this money game, bro. You're probably never even gonna have money your whole life. You're just gonna be getting the next surgery every decade. It'll be a doper surgery. It's like the iPhone. You don't think they're just gonna come out with more gangster shit? I mean, and that's good for a person like you. You're probably happy hearing that, and that's cool. I mean, I'm happy if that makes you happy. But to me, it's a little bit scary because it's like, bro, in like 20, 30 years, literally, you could probably get your gender changed in like a day. For real, you could probably just walk in a building and they'll be like, all right, you're done. And you're already a woman. For real, like, and you probably look like it and everything and have like everything. But it's just right now, yeah, it's kind of ghetto, you know? Like, you got to go get bottom surgery, right? You got to hit up like different surgeons, fucking call up the insurance, argue with them. Be like, no, I don't want the dick, right? Like, you got to let them know. Like, that's crazy. Have you talked to any insurance companies? Like, how does that all work? Or is it just all out of pocket?
Uh, Look, I might end up having to pay out of pocket just because like I'm too socially anxious to call an insurance company. Um, no, I'm kidding. Like that's I feel that way, but I'm not gonna actually do it. Like I'm gonna muster up the courage to, talk to insurance companies. I haven't yet, but I'm gonna do it. Um, um, I had something I was gonna respond to, like something else that you said, but it's oh yeah. I think that a straight man can be attracted to a trans woman, and it's not necessarily gay to um, be intimate with a trans woman as a man. Um, I don't think that like a straight sexual orientation is the same for every straight man. Like for one straight man, he might um, like the fact that someone used to have different parts in the past, that can be a deal breaker for him, right? Because he has a preference for a historical trait, but another straight man might not have a preference for a historical trait. He might only care about what like the physical traits like currently in the moment, right? So um, I just disagree with the idea that like every man who has intimacy with a transgender woman must be gay or bi. They can't be straight. I think that they can be straight.
Okay. Well, good. I like that. I like that you guys got an opinion on something. That's good. I mean, I disagree, but that's cool that you think that. Well, let me ask you another question here as it pertains to the trans issue. Let me go check some other stuff here. Do you ever think about if one day in the future, I know obviously probably not right now, but out of nowhere, you'll just regret all of this. But obviously, this will be post op, and then you'll have to detransition. And obviously, I'm sure you know right? You're a smart guy. I'm sure you know all the horrible stories that go with that. Have you ever thought about if this happens to you? What if your gender dysphoria goes away and you want to go back to your original gender and you got to detransition? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I do fear this outcome because I have like heard stories of it, and you can probably find several if you search on YouTube. Um, but I think that because it happens to a minority of trans people. I think like in life you can never have a 0% chance of regret, but I think that the chance of regret is low enough for me to take the risk.
All right. It said on your YouTube channel, you said getting in touch with your feminine side makes you happy. What did you mean by that? How do you do that? Other than like, the hormones and all that stuff. Like what do you do personally that makes you feel happy?
Um, well, the hormones make me feel like better emotions. So I feel happier. Um, but like most of the emotions I feel are a bit more intense since I started taking estrogen, and I feel like I'm just sort of more in tune with my emotions, and I have become more emotional in a good way, and I feel more feminine as well, and I like the way that I feel, and I like to wear feminine clothing and wear makeup, and I already like think of myself as a woman. I sort of think of myself as a woman who looks like a guy, because I was dealt bad cards, right? Um, like because I've always felt like I'm female on the inside. Um, so it's the hormones and the like me doing feminine things is sort of bringing that. It's making like the femininity on the inside sort of like come out into the outside world, and that makes me feel better.
Okay. Well, that's nice. I appreciate that answer. Let me see if there's some other stuff here. Would you now I guess this is kind of nearing final questions here because I'm not having too much more to ask you, but as far as being a woman, are you going to be like a pink pilled, black pilled woman where you kind of like keep that stuff in mind and maybe tread lightly? Or are you going to be a pink pilled, black pilled woman where you're going to like basically be like all the other women? Um, you know, where you just kind of go for what you want and all that.
Um, I'm gonna go for what I want, but I will be I'll be different from other women in the sense of how I think and how I see the world because I've experienced like the first 20-ish years of my life uh, being treated as a man and being and living as a man, interacting with other people as with a male persona, right? So that's going to give me significantly different it's going to give me like a different worldview than most women than cisgender women, right? And and because I'm also black pilled on top of that, like I will have like different opinions than most women, and I'm I'm probably gonna notice like specific. I already do this, but I like notice specific facial features on other women that makes them look good, right? So I go like, okay, yeah, see that's it's the forward grown nose bridge, that the wide set eyes. Oh, she has like arched eyebrows, like a forward maxilla. That's what makes that woman look good. Oh, compact mid face, right? So I look at women and I look at their faces and bodies and I can tell like these are the like specific bones that make them look good and make them look feminine that I don't have. So yeah, like black pill stuff is kind of always in the back of my head, which is I don't think that that's that mentally healthy. But once you're black pilled, you can't really be on black pilled. So it is what it is.
Absolutely. I just think it's funny because we got incels out here. Clearly, they need help. And Turbo Blackpill, you could be out here giving them the first chance. Somebody in my chat says, tell her if you take estrogen but decide to detransition, you'll end up with a smaller wang. I don't think that matters to you too much because you're just going to be chopping that thing off. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's why it's kind of interesting with you. You really don't care. You're going all the way with it.
it only matters to me for ego reasons, even though I want to have it removed. Because like I think my masculine desires are mostly motivated by ego and like a desire to try to like even the score after I've been like treated quite poorly in certain times in my youth. Um, so like I want to have a big dick just for the purpose of mugging other men and making them feel like shit, right? It's purely about ego and like wanting
Wait,
to
what do
sort
you
of
mean?
like
You want to have a big dick when? Like now? Or
um yeah, just to like mug other men so that I can brag because it's sort of like because you said it in your video. It's kind of like this concept of wanting to be the bully because like I've always like been like low status in middle school, in elementary, middle, high school, because I was like shit at sports. I was short, I was weak, I had a narrow frame, and like every other guy was just mugged me, right? So and guys would like kind of like push me around and stuff, like because in like middle school, like someone used to like pick me up all the time, and that was like really annoying, right? Because it's sort of like it emasculates you because of how it's like you're so small and light that they can just pick you up, right? And you can't do anything about it, right? So it's like
yeah,
I'm just like pissed off by being treated that way that I want to be the giga mega ultra Chad Tyrone just to like just to say fuck you, I'm the man now, right?
yeah. I mean, I get why, but what do you mean? Like you want a big dick? Like you're gonna go get surgery for a big dick before you
Oh
get it
no, I'm,
chopped
I'm not.
off?
I'm not actually gonna get. No, I'm not gonna get surgery or do anything to try to get a bigger dick. I just wish that I was born with one, so I could feel better about myself.
Oh,
That's all.
oh, okay. I was like, holy shit, it's gonna take a long time, dude. Fucking need a lot of money for this shit. Okay, well, damn, that's an interesting. So you have this, you want to become the bully. I appreciate that realization because that is a lot of people I feel like out here. And well, what is okay? So okay, you're saying this, but like, where does this go? All of a sudden, you're a girl. So like, how on one
Well,
hand you want to be the bully with the big dick, and then now you're like, you're gonna run away and chop off the dick? Like, what the fuck?
I don't think that these desires are that they truly come from like an innate desire to be masculine. I really think that it is just like wanting to be the bully as like an ego cope, and I don't
Well,
think that that's
what couldn't
something
it
that
just be the reverse for trans? Like, if you're gonna be a girl, if that's a bully cope or whatever you just said, couldn't it just be the exact opposite for being a girl? Like, literally, it's the exact same thing. Like, if that's not
no,
real
I
masculinity,
it,
then that's
it
not real
feels it feels
femininity.
really different. It just feels really different. Like I feel like a girl is who I already am, and I
How
just have
could you
to
feel that
like
way when you literally have a dick and you're literally saying this thing about you? You know, you want to be the bully with the big dick, and then you're just saying, it's not real. That's just some. It's like, what do you, dude? You're literally explaining the trans thing. Like it's like you're projecting what that really is onto like the real life. Yeah, that's masculinity, bro. Like you want to be the bully. That's
Well, I don't.
masculinity. Like you,
I
I mean,
think
not
that
maybe
there
you
is.
don't want to.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, it's okay. You can go.
Well, here's my take on being the bully, though. Like, I think that there is positive masculinity and there's toxic masculinity, and there are definitely like positive ways, positive motives that men can have for wanting to be big and tough and strong, right? Wanting to be the bully is not one of them, and it's masculinity that is purely motivated by spite is a bad thing to pursue, and I don't want to like embrace that side of me and pursue masculinity like for like a negative reason. I don't think that will lead to good things.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, well, I want to make a few more criticisms, and then I guess I'll let you get going here. And questions as well. Do you do any substances? Are you a drinker, smoker, marijuana, alcohol, cigarettes, anything? Caffeine?
No, I don't do any substances. I drink caffeine occasionally, but even if I
So
did,
you,
I wouldn't want to talk about them on stream.
oh, okay, that's fine. I'm just saying because, like, just for the purpose of saying like who you are, like you're just more so like more like a sober guy. Like you're like a by the book guy, like your typical Asian person. Like you've never.
I wish, honestly, look, I'm gonna be honest, I wish I could drink. I just don't have the social skills to get into parties.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay, that's what I was wondering. I didn't know how sober October you were. Like if you're. Well, that's I guess my question. I was going to ask you. Don't you think you could possibly pursue some sort of a psychedelic experience before you go through with this and see if you still feel gender dysphoric? I mean, honestly, don't you think you owe it to yourself and
Yeah,
your
perhaps.
audience and just God? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, um, maybe, but I don't want to talk about this on YouTube because it's these are not like legal substances. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, no, that's fine. Um, but I mean, we didn't mention anything by name, so that's okay. But yeah, no, I know what you're saying. But either way, even even meditation. So even without that, just meditating on its own, like a echo. What is that thing Joe Rogan does? He goes inside some sort of a chamber. I forget what it is, like a deprivation tank, where it deprives you of your senses, and then he floats in water. And he says, that's basically it produces the same effects as if as a something like that, but it doesn't. It's completely legal. You sober when you do it. All it is water, and you're just depriving your senses, and that's what makes you meditate on such a high level. Why not do something like that? I mean, why not become in touch with some sort of a Buddha level meditation, before you go all the way through with this? Just to make sure, hey, maybe I'm not in touch all the way with my true self. Right? Fine, you're right. Leave the substances out of it. Just completely sober October. Why not invite in some deep meditation?
Sure, I could. I guess I could give that a try.
Yeah, I only say that because I feel as if a lot of times I've been into meditating my entire life. I mean, that's what's gotten me, in my opinion, out of the whole inceldom hole. Because and I've never been a person that does any of those substances like that or nothing like that. But I've heard people use it, so that's why me personally, I've always done sober October. Just meditate in your own head. You do it in a dark room, just very simplistic versions of it. It's honestly worked for me my entire life. So I don't know how many people out here don't meditate, how far down a weird rabbit hole you get. And for all I know, and anyone else out there with the trans thing, dude, you're in some rabbit hole, bro, that you need to meditate your way out of. And I know that sounds like some Christian shit, like you need to pray the gay away. But I don't think that about gay people. I don't think you can pray the gay away. But I definitely think, with this, there is a certain level of like I think you're out of touch with your true self a little bit. And if you feel like you still want to do it after you meditate, I mean, hey, you probably should do it then. But if you feel different, then I don't know, man. You should probably wait and think about it because if you haven't seriously meditated your entire life on this subject and just in general, I mean, you could be in for a big mistake. Like this could come back full circle on you. So, and I'm trying to be a good friend because, look at Chris Tyson and Mr. Beast. I mean, he didn't say nothing. He just was like, go ahead, chop it off. You know what I mean? So I'm at least trying to give you like,
I mean, how do you know he
oh, and
didn't?
also,
Like, he just didn't say it in public.
yeah, what we hope. I mean, shit.
But I appreciate what you said.
Oh, also, I wanted to say something just ironic to say. The funny thing about you, what you said was you said that you didn't want to talk about that stuff because it was illegal. And then I was going to say that's funny. It's true though. But what's crazy is that this is legal. Like you can literally chop off your dangler and then take hormones. Like that shit's crazy. How is that shit legal?
Well, I
What the
mean,
fuck?
what's your like overall like stance on like how much of a libertarian slash like body autonomy like what's your view on that? Are you more of like
Well,
authoritarian or
let's say this because I mean maybe you'll disagree with this right off the jump. We can just get in another argument. I heard that trans people have the highest self deletion rate of anybody on earth. Like, statistically, like if you do that, you're like 70% chance you're going to self delete. And to me, with what you just said, how libertarian am I on all these things? Well, as long as it doesn't have that statistic associated with it, I'm good. And the guy who just did the ER was a trans as well. And I noticed that a lot of people who do ERs are trans, so they got to add that into the statistic too. If you go trans, you're either going to self delete, I mean, and I obviously don't know the real statistics, so I might be speaking ignorantly. So correct me if I am, but that's what I've heard is like it's really bad, man. Like a lot of these people just end up, taking themselves out after they get these hormones and surgeries. So it doesn't really seem to be fixing anybody out here. And yeah, now people are doing ERs on top of it. So that's nice. Obviously not, but it's just like why, what does that make you think? Like I don't think you should allow people to do that if it's going to fuck them up. You know what I mean? And you're asking me my opinion on things. I don't even agree with abortion because abortion fucks women up too, and it fucks society up. I mean, honestly, like I get it. If a woman had gotten taken advantage of, sure, but in general, or if it's like a birth defect, sure, whatever. You got to have a medical emergency, sure. All those examples, of course. But if you just want to do it, no, that's dumb. See what I mean? Because that's why we live in this degenerate world to begin with. That's why you guys are incels to begin with. What the fuck? You think people would wake up to this shit? It's because everybody gets an abortion. Nobody takes care of shit, right? Like people just keep passing the buck. And then, here we are in this degenerate world where it's like you got a chick, she got like 8 abortions. And then she finally has like the ninth baby. The baby daddy runs off. And then it's like, look, that's you. And then you're that incel. It's like you wonder why life's fucked. It's like exactly this libertarian garbage bullshit, whatever the fuck the word is for it. You need to stop letting people edit their bodies and shove shit in there or take chemicals that kill babies. It's weird. It is, man. Like we shouldn't be letting people do that, let alone, oh, someone's gonna go change their gender. Holy shit. Like you think at a point people would wake up to this and realize that this shit is batshit insanity. Like real talk. I mean, that's my real opinion on it, man. What's your opinion on it? How far do you think they should let people edit themselves? You think we should be able to become like whatever we want?
um so I'm actually like the reason I like the black pill community more than like hanging out in trans communities is because like the LGBT communities like they think that I'm like some sort of phobe or like an ist for being, less individualistic and libertarian than they are. Um, because like my like moral foundation is utilitarianism, and like the left like liberals always say like, oh, you should be able to do whatever you want as long as it doesn't harm anyone. But then I say like, well, actually pretty much everything you do harms people, um, or everything that you do has harms and benefits that are indirect, right? And if you just don't, and I think that it's that way too many people these days have this morally lazy stance where they can just not really care about the consequences as long as they're not direct consequences, so that they can just be off the hook for everything. Um, yeah. So like in a lot of ways, the way that I see things is like my stances on things is actually more similar to you than it is to like the mainstream LGBT uh community. Um, Now to respond to respond to the self-deletion part, um, like I'm actually quite like ticked off by how often people conclude things from that statistic uh that don't logically follow from it. Because I don't get why people see that stat, right? The stat is the famous one that's always thrown around in like conservative circles is the 41% attempt rate, right? That 41% of trans people have attempted um, self-deletion in their lifetimes. But it literally baffles me people, why conservative people immediately conclude that it must be taking the hormones and getting the surgeries that is causing that, right? Because it's the attempt rate across your entire lifetime. So they the stat doesn't say when they did it. They could have attempted it before they did the hormones and surgeries or any kind of a medical or social transition. They could have attempted it before, and maybe they don't attempt it after they do that, right? So it could actually improve their lives. So you definitely need more data than just like the attempt rate to conclude these kinds of things. And like I find it annoying that conservatives will just jump to the conclusion that it must be transitioning that's causing the rate to go up.
I mean, it would make sense though, right?
Um, well, intuitively to me, I think that it makes more sense intuitively that transitioning would make your life better.
You don't think out of all the people that have done it, let's say 100,000 people, you don't think 50,000 of them it was fucked? How many? I mean, honestly, let's just out of a million trans people, I don't even know if there's that many. How many you think? I mean, maybe you know the statistics. How many detransition and how many regret it and how many get complications? I mean, there's got to be a lot, man. I don't think everybody's life just gets better from it. I think a lot of people regret it. Honestly, I don't.
Well, not
I've never heard.
well, not
I mean,
everyone's life
honestly,
gets
like,
better. I think the vast majority of
I
their
don't think.
lives improve.
Well, I would say it's more for me from what I've read and seen. I would say it's probably like more in the middle. I would say it just depends the individual. Some people, it's clearly like you're saying, it might be the right decision for you. Other people, they jump the gun. It's just a gay dude. You know what I mean? Like honestly, like or some dude's not even gay. He's just doing it, and then he's wants to go back to being straight. So I mean, maybe for you it is the right decision, but I think it's a little bit dishonest to think it's making everyone's life better if they transition, if they want to transition. That doesn't mean it's just going to make their life better. Their life could go on a downward trajectory immediately following this shit, which I'm sure for a lot of people it honestly has.
Yeah.
It's gone an
I
upward
also, well, I
trajectory
also,
too. Sorry, I just want to say that you're right. Like I'm sure some people you're right, probably are very happy, but I just want to be real. Like some people it's probably a nightmare, man. You know what I mean? Like it's the truth.
yeah. I think that it's important to make the distinction between regretting transition because of complications or regretting it because you weren't really trans. And some people, some like anti-trans conservatives, they will conflate the two. And um, they will just use any examples of regret to show that to make the argument that that people cannot really be trans in the brain. Um, but I disagree with that. I think that there are some cases where trans people like their dysphoria actually goes away like years into their transition. But from what I've seen, most of the regret that happens isn't because you didn't actually want to be the gender that you thought you wanted to be, but it's just because of the like some complications with surgery or not passing because your bone structure just is like too masculine or it's like things like that. It's like practical roadblocks. Um, it usually isn't because like trans people aren't real.
Well, I think that the where I would disagree, and we can agree to disagree on this, is just that the distinction of trans people and like when people aren't, meant to do it and they detransition, that's a slippery slope, right? Because as soon as you start going down that route, it opens up the door for, well, who's really trans at all? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
And that's kind
I
of,
go
no,
ahead.
you can go.
Oh well, I agree with the point that you brought up. I think that it is flawed how the trans community thinks that like either you're trans your entire life or you're not trans your entire life. So if someone detransitions and they like if someone detransitions not for the complications but because they don't actually want to be that gender anymore, then like it's like the mainstream trans community says, well, they were never trans in the first place, and I think that might be the case, but for maybe some people's gender identity or like how they feel on the inside could change over time. Maybe you start being trans and then you're not trans, or maybe you start out not being trans and then later on you might be trans. It could change. Like I don't think it's just like you're either one way the whole lifetime or you're not.
Well, at least you're honest about that, because that's more of a honest take than most people, I think. But I think I'm gonna end it on that one because I gotta get going. I gotta go to work, and I feel like we asked a lot, and I don't really got no more. I'm probably just gonna keep talking in circles. So I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the conversation and answering all the questions. And if I have more stuff to ask you in the future or whatever, I'll hit you up, man. Maybe we can do another one. Okay?
Okay. Are you down to do a stream, like discussing your stance on the black pill?
Yeah, yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right. Well, I'll let you go then, and I'll see you guys. I appreciate your stream and shout out to you guys and shout out Turbo Blackpool. Thank you,
All
bro.
right.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for streaming with me, bro.
Oh yeah, man. No problem.
Bye.